Hi there, everybody. My name is Aubrey, and I am an opera singer and a voice coach. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about a question that I sometimes see in my comment section, which is why I seem to react more often to live performances versus pieces of music that have been edited and prepared for distribution. I think that's a really good question, and it comes down to the fact that I really like mistakes. And I know that sounds silly, but there's something really human and special about mistakes and how artists navigate them when they occur in live performances. I think as musicians, we often are conditioned to believe that mistakes are the worst thing that could ever happen to us and that they should never happen, and all of our practicing is designed to ensure that they never happen. But if we believe that, we might end up spending a lot of time beating ourselves down or being extremely self-critical to the point where perhaps we never perform. And I've seen that a couple times throughout my career, where when somebody becomes their number one critic versus their number one fan, it gets very hard for them to step out on stage and take the risks necessary to see their own career advance. And as somebody who's been teaching for about 12 years now, one of the biggest things that I've always wanted my students to appreciate is that with mistakes come growth. And when we love our mistakes, we're essentially loving our humanity. And in my opinion, the humanity is what makes us make art, and it allows us to connect with our fellow man and share our experiences and allow us to step very briefly into the shoes of our neighbor. So as a result, I tend to find myself most interested in live performances. So what are some of the things that are keeping me from enjoying reacting to a lot of music that's ready for distribution through streaming and radio and etc.? Well, one of the big ones is Autotune. Autotune itself is actually a specific name for an audio processing software that was developed in 1997, and it's designed to correct pitches. Of course, like I said, that's a name brand, so there's other ones like Melodyne and Revoice and Flex Pitch and many more. I feel like we use the word Autotune much like we use the word Kleenex to describe a tissue. It's been around a long time, it's got very strong brand recognition, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other competitive softwares on the market that might be better for your usage depending on your personal goals and tastes. But just so you know, I'm probably going to use the word Autotune in its colloquial meaning throughout this video, just so that we're all on the same page. I do get comments every once in a while that are sharing different artists with me, which I really appreciate. I enjoy hearing what you guys are interested in because it allows me to expand my own listening horizons. That being said, a lot of people do send me videos of their preferred artist on a large stage, or perhaps it's their music video. And in some of these cases, not all, but in some of these cases, these artists are lip syncing. And as a result, it doesn't really give me very much to talk about because I don't really see them doing a lot of things that would be unique to that performance. Of course, a recording is going to be the same every time they perform it, and that's kind of the purpose, right? And that's not a bad thing. I absolutely do understand, and not only that, but I can also appreciate why artists tend to lean towards things like performing with lip sync during very, very high stress environments in order to ensure that the performance goes as well as it possibly can. Personally, I am most interested in videos where the artist is showing their imperfections, not because of any sense of schadenfreude or jealousy, but because I just really love hearing the human voice in all of its glory. It's also a major reason as to why I'm a professional singer in general. I love hearing those small idiosyncrasies that make up a person's unique sound, and I love being part of this ephemeral, fleeting moment of artistic creation, which is inherently the nature of a live concert. For so long, you work so hard, you get up on stage, and you put it out there, and just for a moment, it hangs in the air, and then it's gone. Of course, there's recordings and stuff, but the feeling of being in that space for that particular moment, which will never happen again in that way, is something that is so special. I don't personally think it's that hot of a take for me to say that a recording doesn't really replace the live concert experience, and that's neither a good nor bad thing. I Additionally, almost all of my reaction videos are educational in nature. So if there are no mistakes, it's really not that useful for me to create a video helping people to understand what occurred. There is absolutely nothing wrong with making mistakes. But I think in this era of post-production editing, it's very easy for us to forget that concept. And that kind of segues us into this idea of post-production editing, right? When we go on stage, we get that one shot, which is part of the reason why a lot of people get very anxious when they are performing live, is because you really don't get a redo. You have to do it in that one opportunity, and that can be a lot of pressure. But the idea is hopefully that all of the work that we put into this piece for the last few weeks, few months, whatever, will come through for us in this critical moment. But once it's over, there's really no editing you can do in the brains of your audience members. Now, all that being said, that's a live performance. What about all these tracks that we listen to on Spotify, Bandcamp, and SoundCloud? Perhaps it's good for us to point out every once in a while that these tracks are often designed to maximize their appeal to the largest possible audience rather than reflecting the most accurate representation of an artist's natural ability. And now I kind of want to show you an example of this, and to do that we're going to use T-Pain. There was a performance of him singing at a Tiny Desk concert that went totally viral because people were shocked that he could sing so well because traditionally a lot of his songs use heavy autotune, and fundamentally that's just an artistic choice. That means nothing on how his voice works when he's performing live, and I think that this is a great example. So we're going to compare and contrast some snippets of a song that he has had recorded and then mix mastered, as well as his Tiny Desk concert. So without further ado, let's take a peek. So first we're going to actually start with just a minute of the original distributed song, which it seems like it's like 15 years or more old, which we're not even going to talk about that. But let's just enjoy the first minute of the original song by T-Pain, Buy You a Drink.
Young Jock.
Yeah.
Hey, she snapping.
Yeah, snap your fingers, please there. You can do it all by yourself. Baby girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you, let me buy you a drink. I'm T-Pain, you know me. Convict music, nappy boy. I know the club goes at 3. What's the chances of you rolling with me? Back to the crib, show you how I live. Let's get drunk and forget what we did. I'ma buy you a drink. I'ma take it home with me. I got money in the bank. Sorry, what you think about that? I be in the great Cadillac. We in the bed like we in the bed like.
And even here you can totally see his talent. I mean, he's got some really great stuff going on with his vocals, and I think it's a really interesting sound. And I also really like that every once in a while he does a bit of a rhythm that you don't expect, which just keeps the song sounding very fresh. It's very processed. It's clearly edited the way he wanted it to sound, so I don't really have much to say about it. However, like I mentioned, his Tiny Desk concert does not have this kind of processing over it, so let's pop over there now.
That's pretty good, sizable applause there. That was pretty good. Thank everybody for coming out again. This is weird as hell for me. Never done anything like this. Didn't think you guys were going to be here, but I guess we're doing this. So, everybody, this is Toro, one of the best keyboard players in the world. Pianist. Funny word. I know everybody's wondering where the Autotune is going to come from. It's okay, I got it in my pocket. It's totally fine. You got it right here. It's all surgically inserted. So I guess we're gonna get to this. You wanna let's get to it.
Very charismatic. How funny. And even then, right? He's very well known for his autotune, so he feels like he needs to bring it up.
Oh no. girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you, let me buy you a drink. And then I'm T-Pain, you know me, convict music, nappy Bowie. I know the club close at 3. What's the chances of you rolling with me? Back to the crib, show you how I live. Let's get drunk and forget what we did. I'ma buy you a drink, then I'ma take you home with me. Money in the bank. Oh, I'll be in the grave, we in the bed line. Oh, we in the bed line. Oh, talk to me, I talk back. Let's talk money, I talk that. Crunk juice bomb, old cliches. Shawty got class, oh behave. Let's get gone, walk it out. Just like that, that's what I'm talking about. We gon' have fun, you gon' see. And I'm on that Patron, you should get like me. I'ma buy you a drink, oh, I'ma take you home with me. Money in the bank, yeah, oh, we in the bed line, oh, bed line,
What a great voice. Again, this discussion about whether or not autotune reflects on an individual's ability to sing, which I have seen across the internet many times, is not something I really love to engage in, because it's very clear that T-Pain chose to use autotune in a lot of his works because it's what he likes. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just what he enjoys. And when he is singing live, his voice is, so beautiful. I love his controlled breaks, which are those moments where it just kind of like pops away for a second while he's doing these runs. His runs themselves, very clean, very interesting as well, and they seem to be playing with the pianist, which, by the way, pianist, what a beautiful sound he's able to get. So they were working so well together, and you can even see him listening, T-Pain. He's listening to what that pianist is doing and feeding off of that, which I just love seeing. I'm not kidding when I say my favorite part about being a musician is the collaborations. Working with other musicians is absolutely the highlight of my career because I get to create pieces that I could never do on my own. I absolutely love being able to share creativity and build things that I just would never be able to without the help of my colleagues. And T-Pain is really showing what that looks like. You can watch him move with the music, with what his own choices are. I mean, it's a really interesting way to see a live performance. I have really enjoyed Tiny Desk concerts. I think a lot of people do. They're very popular, but I really think they give us an opportunity as the listeners to see what an artist does. And I think that that's an underappreciated thing in today's society, where a lot of the things we're consuming, for example, if you're streaming from Spotify or listening to the radio, which I guess people don't really do as often anymore, but the same concept still applies, is that it's just the sound. You don't get to see the artist. I think we miss out on a lot of the nuance and the personal choices that an artist makes while they're performing. And it's not like it's required for us to enjoy their music to be able to see them, but there is something extremely special about watching them create live. What I also think is interesting about T-Pain is his natural voice is extremely clean. If you listen to the way he navigates the pitches, they are so crisp and very controlled, and then when he holds out a note, there's very little variation on the sound. which honestly almost sounds like he does have Autotune surgically implanted into him. So although he uses Autotune in his pieces when he distributes them to us, it's not like it's so dissimilar from his natural style. It's just enhancing what he already does with his voice. Obviously, when he's performing live, he doesn't sound computerized at all, but there is that element that he really clearly likes, that clarity and even that breakage sound that you get. You can even see this in early Autotune with Believe by Cher. You can hear those big jumps in between pitches. And so he's even doing this here organically, which means that his choice to use Autotune is almost based on his existing technique as a vocalist. So this idea that Autotune drastically changes the voice doesn't necessarily have to be the case. When we listen to Believe, Cher still sounds like Cher. T-Pain still sounds like T-Pain. All the other artists that use these various pitch correcting programs still sound like themselves. However, of course, you can turn that software up and make it extremely intense, and then you can create a voice that sounds more synthetic. But for the most part, a lot of us, when we use these programs, are just using them to help ourselves navigate small inconsistencies in pitch. But if you look at this T-Pain concert, his voice is so beautiful, it's so crisp, it's so clean. He's got a very clear understanding of what runs he finds attractive, what things he thinks will bring out different elements of the piece. And when we are taken along that journey with him, he's a very good train conductor. And so that's kind of how I see it, is as singers, our job is to not only be there to make stuff sound beautiful, we're also there to help guide the audience through the experience and help them to feel different emotions. We can't control what they feel based on our music, but we can show them what we feel when we sing our music. So just keep that in mind in your own performances. But I just want to thank T-Pain for showing us what his voice sounds like with and without Autotune, because that's a really brave thing to do. I really appreciate when singers perform live and show us their chops. There truly is nothing better to me than seeing another human being sing with joy and passion. So if you are ever curious about exploring your own voice, feel free to reach out to me or ask questions, and I will always be trying to produce videos that are educational in nature, as well as hopefully entertaining. And that means I hope that you enjoyed this video as well. Stay tuned for my next one, and as always, remember to keep on singing.